NSFW, high school teachers, what juicy drama is going around your high school? Bunnies. A girl came to school one day with 5 bunnies in her book bag. And by the end of the day had sold every bunny for 25 apiece. Every day, teachers would be stopping kids and looking through book bags and lunch boxes. It was chaos. And the bunnies were still being sold. Occasionally you'd see someone with a lump in their jacket with an ear poking out bunny. A cracked lunchbox bunny. Eventually, this turned into a full black market bunny selling ring. The leader had recruited other sellers. And they had designated bunny trading spots. Our school is infamous for gangs and drugs. So this was a pleasant surprise to most. Over time, the bunny selling trickled to a stop. But occasionally one will pop up. Middle school here. Us teachers noticed that the female students had been highly interested in each other. And we joked with one another that we thought experimentation happened in college. So, a parent arrives to ask her daughter's teachers, principal, and counselor for advice on what to do with her child. Come to find out, her daughter had not been coming home at night because she was participating in les orgies with her friends. Oh my goodness. Middle schoolers. One of my co-workers got fired and got beat the it out of by a gang of angry parents on an ordinary sunny Tuesday. Turns out this guy was making these kids fight in this sort of tournament. The winners would receive a 10 that semester. Some tough the kids got hurt real bad. He'll never be able to teach again and he had to leave town because everyone wanted to hurt him. Rumors say that the videos are online but I haven't bothered to look. This is what happens when someone breaks the first 2 rules. Yes. 1. Be attractive. 2. Don't be unattractive. A beloved teacher and coach got charged with ducking a student. The teacher had a wife. The student was a guy. Bet his wife wasn't happy about that one. A couple of months after graduation, a friend of mine told me she'd had a 2-year-long affair with her English journalism teacher. When I was in HS, a rumor started floating around that our English teacher, 9/10 by the way, had relations with one of the senior football players and gotten knocked up. After a while, she had a kind of visible baby bump. And after this rumor surfaced during the 2nd semester, she got a long-term sub for a few weeks and showed back up looking pretty alright. But no bump. Even one of the teachers I hung out with after graduating thinks she actually did get pregnant by this kid and hit the abort button. Not a teacher but at my former high school the vice principal recently got fired for breaking into people's houses and stealing prescription pills. Every time I got in trouble in high school he said that I should look up to him because he was a respectable adult with a good job. Lol. I swear I read an article about this. It made the news. You definitely could have. Last year, a kid shoved a lollipop into some other kid's ear. It busted his eardrum as it started bleeding and supposedly he couldn't hear properly for the rest of the semester. Man. High schools in other countries have some intense drama. Back when I was in high school, in New Zealand, the most dramatic thing I can remember happening is someone drawing an enormous, like 100 meters long, big dig on our sports field with weed killer. The field was in a lowered area from the main school buildings. You had to take quite a lot of stairs to get to it. So you got a really good view of the whole thing whenever you were at the school and walking past. Edit. Damn. It seems there are a lot of high schools in NZ that had this prank done. I'm talking about Newlands College. For those of you guessing. Bethany and Deandra have been best friends for like 4 years. But Bethany started hanging out with Amber all the time and Deandra got jealous and told Bethany she'd better drop Amber. Bethany is all. Deandra has pulled this it before and I'm not about to beg for her friendship. And Deandra is all. Things are different now. So these days Bethany and Deandra sit on opposite sides of the room and talk loudly. But not to each other. And they both have to find new roommates for next year. It's not recent but one of the male math teachers at my high school back in the mid-90s had been getting his knob polished in return for A's on tests in his class. Just like right out of a porn movie. He was a pretty good looking, athletic and charismatic guy. And it went on 4 years without any complaints. It was a deep, dark secret in the female population that if you wanted an easy A you took his class and stayed late for extracurricular activities. Then, one day, some girl is doing the do with him and she makes fun of the size of his junk after the act. She was one of the high school hoovers and had made the rounds a few times. So unlike many of the girls he slept with, she knew the difference between a big rooster and a peacock. At the end of the year he gives her an F and she reports his ass. Straight up tells the principal, look, I slept with this guy for an A and he failed me. Then the floodgates opened and we found out it was like 75 girls over the course of the 10 years he'd been teaching there. Probably even more that didn't confess to the act. Since someone might ask, he failed her on attendance. In my high school you could have 100s on everything and still be failed by the teacher for never showing up. It's ducking idiotic. But that was the 90s. I missed 2 weeks of school with bronchitis and had to get waivers to pass my classes. Obligatory, not a teacher. But some kid at my school got pistol whipped last weekend. Apparently he got a little too close to some guy's girlfriend and the dude arranged a meetup posing as the girl. Nobody really feels sorry for this kid due to the fact that he's negative as duck, has no regard for personal space, and is annoying. We have a very openly gay flamboyant male student who was beaten up by a group of the tough jocks for telling all of his friends about having a crush on one of the top sports players in the school. As it turns out, he had been secretly meeting this guy in parking lots and secret locations for months for hookups. After the jock let his friends beat him up for the rumors, he posted screenshots of their conversations and NSFW exchanged pics on all social media platforms for the whole student body to read. My junior year English teacher loved my high school more than anything. He made it his whole life. After I graduated, our new president-principal combo went through and fired almost all the teachers that student loved, including him. After that he went missing. His favorite book to teach was Into the Wild and I just know he pulled one of those. He was last spotted leaving church and then a duffel bag with his wallet and phone were found abandoned on a beach 2 hours from where we lived. Never heard from again. There was all kinds of crazy drama at my school after I graduated though. This was like the least of it. Edit, fixing words. No, I'm not a teacher. But at my old high school a teacher was caught sending nudes to a student this year. 2011 when I graduated was his first year teaching music. He always seemed overly close with the girl students. He seemed like a nice dude but it still looked odd to me. Anyway, stories started to surface that he would text girls at night. The girl I went to prom with told me he followed her home. Then this year he was caught sending nudes to another teacher's daughter. The pictures got passed around. More girls started to speak up about when he tried coming onto them. He eventually resigned. I'm not sure what happened to him since. High school student. And not even sharing drama but thought this is kinda relevant. Anyway, at my school we had an amazing teacher who literally knew everything. Students would literally come up to her and give her gossip. She knew about stuff like which regional kid gave which your tenor BJ in the sports center, the time I first smoked weed and all kinda it. Best part? She didn't get any of us in trouble. In all honesty, it was kinda nice to have her around. I miss her. I was really close to my art teachers. So after I graduated high school I'd occasionally go back to high school to visit. A year or two after I graduated, there was some intense drama brewing on the day I visited and I got to hear all the gossip. Apparently a girl and guy were having sex in the middle of class time in the stairway. They're really strict about students in the halls when it's class time, so if a teacher even sees you you're already suspicious. Sounds travel. Obviously. So a teacher found them mid-thrust. The guy ran before teacher got a good look at his face and left the girl standing there with her pants down. Anything after this point hadn't been resolved by the time I left, and never bothered to ask about a continuation because I don't care too much. But I'd imagine the girl ratting the guy out, especially because he ditched her, and them both getting into major trouble. My high school was very strict and nothing like this happened when I was in school, or I didn't know about it. In my own world. So that teenagers were so horny that they'd do something this ballsy stuck to me. I've already graduated uni for over a year now. So this was a while back, sorry it's not recent juice. High school student here. People were betting up to £10,000 on FIFA games. A kid got expelled for dealing LSD in the school. And some dude hooked up with a girl and he put his hand in her mouth and said I am in control now. I dropped out a few months ago due to mental health concerns. But that's what I've kept up with. Just last year. I had a girl in my 11th grade class. Very bright. Studious. Had 2 other girls she usually was with. But overall not very noticeable. Thing is she was absent a lot. To the point where she was only at school for a day a week or less. It was quite troublesome. As her parents didn't ever send a mail or write a note for why she had been gone from school. But as stated earlier, she was pretty smart. So her grades didn't suffer that much. I used to talk to her after classes to ask her what was going on. But she would usually just apologize politely and promise she would do better. Fast forward to around Christmas time and she hadn't been to school for 2 weeks. That month was exam month. And she was missing out on a lot of prep days she needed to be present at. Fed up. I marched to the principal's office and told him her absence was really ruining for her. And that I should call the parents and inform them of the consequences. As is norm in the situation. To my surprise, the principal was completely against it. Turns out, the girl was going to be married away to a man in her homeland against her will that December. The reason she had been gone those 2 weeks was because she had been picked up by child services and had been moved to a safe location. Shortly after it was revealed she had been absent all those days because her parents wanted her to stay home and take care of them and do chorus. Not because she was sick. She was verbally and physically abused by her parents. And she was constantly monitored so she couldn't stay at school after hours or do other activities like hang out with friends. She didn't realize any of this was wrong until her friends at school talked to her about it. So this wasn't really drama. But it was quite a shock for me and all her teachers when we were told. It's been a year now and she's doing great. Her parents have gotten a restraining order and she got a little dog she saved from a shelter. But it's safe to say that she'll never have the life a normal 16-year-old is supposed to have. And that makes my blood boil. But she is very grateful for her new life it seems and she's safe. And that's all that matters.